Can everybody hear me okay? Good evening, everyone. You're not going to hear any sound coming out of this mic. This mic is for our webcast audience. Hello, Internet. Thank you all for being here, either in person or digitally, for the third installment of this year's Flyover New Music Series. My name is Greg Simon. I'm Assistant Professor of Composition and Jazz Studies here at the Glenn Korff School of Music and the Artistic Director for the Flyover New Music Series. It is so thrilling to be able to share this with you, all the work that our students have done. Normally, this is the part where I say that Flyover is our in-house concert series comprised entirely of new student works performed by students. Tonight, that is not quite true for reasons that I will tell you about a little later in the program. But what I can say is the first couple of pieces that you're going to hear have been written by students at UNL, are going to be performed by students at UNL, and this entire concert experience that you're about to have is produced and overseen by students here at UNL. There's nothing like it in the School of Music, and we are so proud to share it with you every single time. Now, a couple of housekeeping things before we jump in. Those of you who have snagged a program, I see a couple of them out there, may notice that on the back there is a QR code that will take you, if you scan it with a smartphone, that'll take you right to the program notes for this event. It will tell you a little bit about every piece. You'll also, as the night progresses, get a chance to meet every single one of the composers as they come up and introduce their work. But that'll give you something to follow along. Now that I've got you looking at your phones, please do me a favor and make sure that they are on silent mode. One of the things about being a composer and premiering a new work is that often the recordings that we get using those two mics right there are extremely important, not only for the careers of our composers, but for the ongoing life of the work itself. Recordings turn into performances, they turn into commissions, and it's really, really hard to allow our students to use those recordings to their full potential if a ringtone goes off in the middle of one of them. So please do take the moment to silence your cell phones. With that, I'll be back with you to talk a little bit later about what else we have going on for new music here at UNL, and also to talk to you about the last piece on the program. But for right now, thank you so much for being with us for Flyover. Tonight's program is called Whisper. I will turn it over to our first composer. Thanks again.
Welcome, good evening, and thank you again for sharing your evening with Flyover New Music. It's so wonderful to have a lot of people here to listen. My name is Krista Connolly. I'm a third-year doctoral student here at UNL, and I'm joined here by Anthony McIntosh, a key proponent in what we're about to hear. The next two pieces you're going to hear are both of the ones for hammered dulcimer. Your program is just a little incorrect, just a little change to that. First mine, and then you'll hear Sam Stanley's piece, and he'll come talk about his in a couple of minutes. So both of these pieces were born out of a commissioning project that Anthony here initiated last summer, out of, I think, the need for more repertoire for this very unique instrument, which, because it's so unique, has a very limited repertoire of solo pieces. So I really enjoyed getting to know the instrument throughout this whole process, and the program for mine is pretty straightforward. I took inspiration from the mythological creatures of sirens, and to personify them musically, I chose to depict three sirens, both working together as they lure sailors to their death through their enchanting song, and also working as individuals. So here is Sirens. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sam Stanley. I'm a junior cello performance major here at UNL. When Anthony first approached me about this project, I had never actually written for the hammer dulcimer, and I hadn't heard much about the instrument at all. So I spent a lot of time looking at diagrams and listening to YouTube videos and And one thing that really stood out to me about the instrument is that it has this glorious low G. And so I decided to make this an important feature of the piece. Yeah, would you play it? That'd be awesome. Yeah. So throughout the piece, this note, it kind of represents turning points in the piece and the harmony, and it's an important event throughout. So here's Lydian Chroma.
Good evening. My name is Gracie Fagan. I am the true freshman of the composition studio, and I am so excited to be here with you on my very first flyover. So exciting. So unlike these past two pieces, my piece was not commissioned by Anthony for hammered dulcimer. You can probably tell in your program notes. This is an electronics piece. I love movies. I do. And when I met my best friend my senior year of high school, he introduced me to my favorite genre, horror. What you're about to hear is a very loud and abrasive piece, and if you have sensitive ears, it's totally okay to step out if you need to. This piece combines classic horror film scoring with just how scary it is to go through an anxiety attack. This is All the Devils Are Here. Thank you so much for listening.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sapphire Sky Toth, and I am a sophomore music composition major here at UNL. You guys are about to hear my piece Sunflowers and Roses, which was originally commissioned by Kristen Lee last semester for her flute recital. It is simply, well, about sunflowers and roses, two things you normally wouldn't think are put together, but they actually look pretty great when they're put together. And for that reason, during this piece, there are times when all three of us are playing in different time signatures. Go ahead and try your best to see who's playing what. So I'm Sapphire. This is Gracie, if you guys didn't remember that from 5 minutes ago. And we are in charge of the social media for Flyover. If you don't follow us at Flyover New Music on social media, go ahead and look us up. We are on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat. And also we have our YouTube channel and podcast series where we upload Coffee with Composers. We currently have 2 episodes live right now, and also the episode with Christina Ensign will be coming out this Thursday. You don't want to miss it.
The title of tonight's program is Whisper, and all of the titles of this season come from a meeting that I had with the Flyover Volunteer Committee at the beginning of the year when we were trying to figure out what the outline of our season was going to be. And when we came up with the title Whisper, it immediately got me thinking about one of my favorite musicians, who is Pauline Oliveros. Pauline Oliveros was a composer, accordionist, improviser, electronic music producer, had one of the most varied, wild careers in contemporary music, and up until her death in 2016, was one of the most prolific composers and one of the most dedicated teachers in the American music world. One of the visions that we've always had for Flyover is that we would create a space to not only present student compositions, but to give to shed some light on what you might consider underrepresented gems from the contemporary music landscape. At our first Flyover ever in 2016, we presented, or in 2017 rather, we presented Steve Reich's clapping music. And this is the second time that we are performing a brand new piece of music written, or brand new, but a new piece of music written by someone who is not connected to the University of Nebraska in any way. The reason I chose this piece, Earth Ears, is because of Pauline Oliveros' connections to this concept of whispering. When Seth Frommel and I, my GTA, were talking about Flyover and about whisper in particular, this concept came up over and over and over of whispering as one of the most surefire ways to get someone to listen very closely to what you have to say. Among the things that are very interesting about Pauline Oliveros was that she was a proponent of a philosophy of music she called deep listening. And I have here, she can say it better than I, what exactly she meant by this concept. Pauline Oliveros said, "Deep listening is listening in every possible way, to everything possible, to hear no matter what you are doing. Such intense listening includes the sounds of daily life, of nature, or of one's own thoughts, as well as musical sounds. Deep listening represents a heightened state of awareness and connects to all that there is. As a composer, I make my music through deep listening." Pauline Oliveros believed that the job of every musician was primarily, first and foremost, to listen and then play or compose or whatever the case may be. She believed that listening was the foundation of what it took to be a musician. And tonight's piece, Earth Ears, a sonic ritual, is an exercise in her philosophy of deep listening. Now, what you're going to hear all around you by an ensemble made up of myself as well as several members of our composition studio is we are going to perform a series of improvised cycles. Now, there's a lot of scary words in that sentence, including improvisation by non-improvisers, but here's what I'll invite you to think of this piece as. What we are going to do with each other is create a series through sounds, a series of patterns that will naturally and organically find ways to lock into one another. And as those patterns develop, we'll move between those and some different textures. And there will always be a pattern spread out across the room for every single one of us, including the improvisers who have no idea what is about to happen, to follow. This is an exercise in deep listening, not only for the performers, but for the audience members as well. And this is an opportunity for all of us, as I think Pauline Oliveros would have wanted, to engage in deep listening with one another. As audience members, as listeners, you are every bit as important a member of the performing ensemble of this piece in particular as we are. And as we enter into the sonic ritual, I invite you to listen with open ears and open heart in that spirit. This is Pauline Oliveros' Earth Ears. Thank you.